Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Jenny. I'm from JennyCardDesigns. Thanks so much for stopping by to spend some time with me here today. My YouTube channel contains content that is intended to share paper crafting, tutorials, and inspiration with all of you. I hope that you enjoy. In today's video, I'm going to be continuing with my inspiration as a guest designer for the Gina K Designs June 2020 release. I'm going to be using my template reference book and I'm going to create a slimline card. In my template reference book, I've got a bunch of templates that I've designed so that you can create different types of handmade envelopes, boxes, and so much more. So today we're going to be using the envelope reference for a side folding slimline envelope. I'm going to be using a piece of 12 by 12 pattern paper. I have tons of this stuff in my stash and figure that I should use it more often. If you also have tons of this stuff in your stash, maybe you can find some inspiration on my channel. So for today, I'm going to choose one piece of 12 by 12 pattern paper and I'm going to cut it up to create some layers for my card as well as create my envelope for my slimline card. So I'm going to take this piece of pattern paper and cut it down to 11 inches and then rotate one turn to the left and cut it to 8.5 inches. And then I'm going to take a regular Pure Luxury Gina K Designs ivory cardstock and I'm going to cut this at 7 inches. So we'll take away the trimmer and I'm going to save these pieces of paper and we'll come back to those in a moment. I'm going to put my card inside of my scoreboard and score at 3.5 inches, creating a slimline card that measures 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches. And then I'm going to take my piece of pattern paper and along the 8.5 inch side, I'll score at 2 inches and then at 6 inches, rotate one turn to the left and score at 1 inch and then 10 inches. And now we're going to make some cuts into this piece of paper following along the envelope reference guide. So this is what it should look like after cutting off those pieces. Now we'll burnish all of the score lines on the envelope using my bone folder. And you want to make sure that you don't get any cracks in your envelope. If there's any excess overhang, you use your scissors and just trim that off. And now we'll apply some adhesive to the flap and close the envelope up. Use my bone folder to burnish everything into place and then the envelope is done. So pretty simple. Let's move over to the card base now. I'm going to take this extra strip and I'm going to tear off that yellow piece and I'm going to put the strip on the inside of my card base to create some interest on the inside. So I'll use my tape runner, adhere that down, trim off the excess, and now I'm going to create some layers for the front of my card. So I'll start with a piece of pattern paper. I'm going to cut that down to 8.25 inches by 3.25 inches. So that layers perfectly on my card base. And then I'll take this piece of ivory cardstock and cut that down to 3 by 8. And then that will layer up nicely onto our panel. And I'll adhere down the pattern paper and I'm going to do some stamping on that ivory piece of cardstock. So we're going to pull in the new stamp set designed by Emily Loggins, and this is the Baby Girl stamp set. This set is full of beautiful hand lettering by Emily, and it's got some nice little images too where we can create some pretty cards. So I'm going to start with the Welcome Baby. I'm going to stamp that on my panel with charcoal brown ink. I'm going to take this element here. I think this is supposed to be half of a wreath. So I'm just going to use this to create some interest in the corners of my panel. I don't stamp the full thing. I just stamp little bits and pieces of it to create some nice little pattern in the corners. And then I'll use the florals and I'll start stamping those into a pretty little floral arrangement. I'll use the big flower and the small flower, and I'm using this same charcoal brown ink to stamp all of this. And then I pulled in the stamp by Lisa Hetrick. This is also a new set from the June 2020 release, and I'm going to use some of the foliage elements here, and I'm going to stamp this sort of whimsical sprig in between my floral arrangement. And then I'm also going to stamp the other leafy image, and I just want to create some very whimsical looking pretty floral stuffs. And then we're going to get to some coloring. So once I'm happy with all of my stamping, I'm going to move everything out of the way and pull in some of my alcohol markers. I'm just laying down some flat color. I'm using a yellow copic marker, and I'll color in all of my florals, and then I'm going to come in with a second darker color and start creating some highlights and shadows. And then I'll take the first color and kind of blend back over top. And then I colored in all of the leafy sprigs with some green alcohol markers. And then I came back in with a darker sort of orangey for those flowers to create a little bit more depth, and then use the lighter shade to blend it all together. And then that's it. And I'm going to adhere this to my Slimline card panel that's all ready to go. I'll use some liquid glue for that because my tape runner ran out. I'm going to stamp the inside sentiment. So that is it for this card. So I had some fun just pulling out some of my pattern paper, creating something simple and pretty, and doesn't have to be so fancy. Here's a close-up look at the completed card project, and the inside sentiment reads, "Congratulations on your new someone to love and adore." So that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend it here with me. I appreciate all of the support. Coming up on screen are a few videos that I think you may enjoy, as well as a playlist for the Gina K Designs June 2020 release. So thanks for watching, have a lovely day, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!